Okay, so I'm here with my friend Ian Reclusado, and we read the Scorned Princess from the Franz Xavier von Schonwerth's The Turnip Princess. And I'll go ahead and give a summary, and then we'll just talk about it. So, three soldiers are finished with their tour of duty, and they stop in the woods and they make a bonfire to protect themselves from wild animals, and they take turns keeping watch. On the first watch is a miller's son. Now, an old woman came up and she pleaded to let her warm her bones. And he was about to say no, but she offered him a hat that would take him anywhere, a magic hat. He tested it and he saw that it really did do that, and so he gave her what she wanted. Now he warned her, the next guy is gruff, so you better leave when it's his turn. And she left without complaint. Now on the next watch, she reappeared, and the next guy began to threaten her, but she promised him an enchanted horn. She instructed him that you just blow through the small hole, and the world's exiled and homeless soldiers will come out the other end ready to serve you. And if you just blow through the opposite end, they'll go back through. So he let her warm her bones. And then toward morning, he warned her about the next chap who was a shepherd's son, Fortunatus. And he has no manners, so you'd better leave. Now she went right up to Fortunatus, and with a trembling voice, she pleaded for him to let her stay. And he was rude, but when she offered him a magic purse filled with gold that would always replenish, he grabbed the purse and he saw that she told the truth, and he let her warm her bones. The next day, the three were back on the road, and they didn't swap stories. They went to an inn, they ate and drank without knowing who would pay. In the end, the third fellow did, and then they told each other about the marvelous gifts they've been given. So they separate, and with the fellow with the purse emptying it several times for his comrades, making them rich, and the two comrades returned home and they married and they were happy. Fortunatus, however, indulged in life's pleasures, his good looks and his wealth, and the feasts that he did earned him respect everywhere he went. So the king, believing Fortunatus was a prince from elsewhere, invited him to the castle. The king's daughter fell madly in love with him, hoping that he'd ask her father for her hand in marriage. But he was unwilling, which made her all the more lovesick. She wined and dined him, and he revealed his secret and fell into a deep sleep, whereby she replaced the magic purse with a forgery. When he woke up, she confirmed that he didn't want to marry and sent him away. On the road, when his purse emptied and didn't refill, he realized what had happened. His servants left him, and he sold his clothes to survive. He called on the princess, but was turned back and banished. He decided to call on his comrades. He was recognized right away. He was given a bed, clothes, and money. They even gave him the wishing hat that he no longer needed. Fortunatus returned to the princess, who was astonished to see him in his former glory, and was sure that he'd agree to what she wanted. But once again, no, she got him to tell her everything by the same means as before. And when he was asleep, she exchanged the wishing hat, which he soon discovered. Then he was back on the road again. Now he's on foot. And once his money was used up, he visited the second comrade. He was given money and a magic horn, which had never been put to use. Now Fortunatus was filled with thoughts of revenge, and he returned to the king's city. He blew the horn, and an army appeared at his back. They surrounded the city, and he was thinking to blockade and starve everyone. The terrified monarch invited the warlord to parley and dine, and the princess figured out who he was and sat next to him at the banquet. By the same means as before, uh, uh, and he blew his horn to command his army to retreat. She exchanged the horn and confirmed his refusal, and he was condemned to death. He blew the ordinary horn, the replacement, but nothing happened. But the princess, who had not given up hope, let him escape. Once again on the road, poor and almost starving, Fortunatus saw a lush apple tree. He ate one, and a horn sprouted from his forehead. He went back on the road, hungry as ever, and he saw another apple tree. Although he knew the risk, he ate one, and the horn fell off. He gathered some of those apples and the ones from the first tree. He returned to the city where the king ruled, disguised as a fruit peddler. He put the most beautiful apples on display beneath the princess's window. He made a nice piece of change from selling his wares and raced off to buy new clothes so that he would not be recognized. The princess and the chambermaid ate the apples and sprouted a horn each. Now there was no doctor from anywhere that could help. A royal reward was promised, but no one showed up. Fortunatus at last heard what had happened and was overjoyed. He returned to the city disguised as a healing priest. The king tested him on the chambermaid first, whom the quote unquote priest cured with an apple from the second tree. Now the king took him to his daughter, and Fortunatus told the kneeling girl to confess anything on her mind, lest the cure won't work. She told him about the man who had scorned her love several times and how she'd gotten revenge. The priest got from her the purse, the hat, and the horn, and gave her an apple, and a second horn sprouted from her forehead. Quickly he put on the hat and wished himself to the top of a nearby mountain. He blew on the horn and got his army. They attacked, conquered, and burned the city to the ground. The king, daughter, and the court perished. Fortunatus ruled over the entire country as king for a long time.